Rayleigh's true powers. Silver's Rayleigh. Recently, I've been looking back on a lot of characters and I've been trying to give them more respect than I usually do. Paul Hancock is an example. But Rayleigh is definitely a character who he gets a lot of respect, he gets a lot of hype, but I'll be honest here. For some reason, I still try to downplay his power and his scale. But if you think about it, Wano is bringing the Rayleigh hype just like Whole Cake Island did, just like Dressrosa did, and just like right before the time skip. And Sabaody, of course. We've been getting Rayleigh hype for a long time. We have never seen Rayleigh take pretty much a situation where he looks lesser than he should look. So definitely want to say Rayleigh, the Wano hype, they showcasing that he was using advanced armor haki and we didn't even know he was doing it, even though a lot of people did mention that, oh, Rayleigh's doing something special. Shout out to Anime Fan Talk. But I also want to say this, he also spoke about advanced observation haki. He talks about how there's some characters we can able to see into the future. If you're talking about that, honestly, I feel like you should know how to do it if you're talking about that. Maybe he doesn't know what to do it. Now, if he doesn't know how to do it, I'm not going to slight him for it, but I'm assuming he knows how to do it. That's just me guessing. But I definitely want to say he was the vice captain and he was in old age. And that's the two reasons why people were disrespecting him. But I'll be honest here, that could be the reasons why you should respect him. Yes, he was a vice captain, but he was a vice captain to the GOAT, Gold D. Roger. And yes, he's old age, but let's be honest here. Another character who was old age was Whitebeard. And you know how hype Whitebeard was. So definitely want to say, we know Oda recently came out and said that he loves to give older characters a lot of powers. And if you think about it, look at the Admirals. The Admirals are around like mid-50s, close to 60 years old. And they're crazy powerful. Big Mom is, I think, late 60s or early 70s. Like, these older characters have all been given hype moments. So definitely I'm excited. I'm super excited to talk about this character because I feel like his true capabilities, you're going to be shocked what I say. So stay tuned. Check out the whole video. And in a couple hours, I will be live streaming on this channel. If you guys were there last night, we did a Voice Century podcast on that Voice Century podcast channel. And I'll be doing one tonight, so turn on your notification if you don't want to miss it. It's going to be a couple hours. It's going to be hilarious. People loved last night's live stream, so you're not going to want to miss this one today. Now, let's be honest here. When it comes to Rayleigh and actually having a significant battle, there was only one significant battle we can talk about, and that was against Kizaru. And Kizaru was a character who definitely is another character who is overhyped a lot of times, but he's also underrated a lot of times. Definitely want to say he kind of reminds me of a character like Enel, but Enel is a more extreme case. But Kizaru is a character who, let's be honest here, there's situations where people say, whoa, Ben Beckman had him shook. When really, I don't think he had him shook, but I did think that Ben Beckman is a respectable character. So Kizaru was like, oh, Ben Beckman, Kizaru's a troll. But there's a situation where Kizaru wants to go to Wano and there's two Yonkos, Big Mom and Kaido. That's the kind of character he is. I feel like he literally has no fear of any character. Honestly, like we saw him against Whitebeard and Marine 4, he has no fear of any character. So the fact that he hyped up Rayleigh in that battle, in a sense, he spoke to great lengths about Rayleigh. It probably means that Kizaru knows the prime Rayleigh. He's seen the prime Rayleigh. Kizaru was a vice admiral back in those days, so he's seen the prime Rayleigh and how powerful he was. Now, of course, Rayleigh's in his old age, and he's not the same person as he once was. Rayleigh even admitting that he's a little bit rusty, but still, the fact that he's in his old age and he's still going toe-to-toe with an admiral like Kizaru, who's a speedster, says a lot about Rayleigh and how powerful he is. I definitely want to say, in that battle, you literally have to say minimum he's admiral level. Like, you cannot say that Rayleigh isn't admiral level from that battle. He's literally going toe-to-toe with Kizaru, and it's an evenly matched fight. Now, one of the most hype moments, in my opinion, that a lot of people don't talk about is when Garp is talking about how we can't go up against two legends at the same time when Rayleigh gets mentioned. Like, let's be honest here. They were going up against the strongest pirate in the world, Whitebeard, a emperor. And Rayleigh was pretty much given the same status of an emperor. And that's literally tells me that Rayleigh in his prime had to be emperor level, honestly. He had to be emperor level. I've always said this. The fact that in his old age he's going toe-to-toe with an Admiral Kizaru who gives him his respect and says that pretty much Rayleigh can't be taken lightly. And then Garp, the man who went up against Roger, said that we can't go up against two legends at the same time. If there's any character who knows Rayleigh's power and abilities, it's Garp, because Garp was chasing and fighting his captain all those years. So definitely want to say these words, a lot of people like to shrug them off, but they are great words from Monkey D. Garp, the hero of the Marines, the man who took out the GOAT before Roger Rocks, whose Big Mom and Kaido were under. Oh my goodness, yo. The history of One Piece is so rich. Now, Rayleigh is a swordsman, but he's not one of those swordsmen who gets a lot of hype. And I'll be honest here, him, Fujitora, and Shanks, a lot of characters like these where they are swordsmen, and from what we've seen, they are able to go toe-to-toe with other swordsmen, and they get a lot of hype in that sense, but they don't get hype in the sense like Mihawk, Vista, where their thing is solely swordsmanship. Like, that's their skill, and they get a lot of hype from that. And honestly, I believe that characters like this are very intriguing, because in a sense, they don't only use their sword. We saw when Fujitora is fighting, he has a fruit ability that pretty much manipulates gravity. So he's a swordsman who also manipulates gravity. Rayleigh, we've seen him in the Kizaru battle. He used his leg to kick Kizaru from pretty much taking out Zoro. And that's a thing where we see Rayleigh use his feet, but he's also using his sword in the battle. That's his main weapon. So definitely want to say he's a swordsman, but he definitely is not solely a swordsmanship user. Like, we saw him use advanced armor haki with his hand to take out an elephant. He definitely is very, very versatile in combat. He's able to pretty much use these bullets and stop cannons from attacking pretty much Straw Hat, Jinbei, and him. And he defeats these sea beasts, or it might have even been a sea king, I'm not too sure, in the calm belt when his ship got wrecked and he swam all the way there. I'll be honest here, when it comes to being the strongest man who's not a fruit user, he's definitely up there with characters like Garp and, of course, Shanks and guys like that. Definitely want to say Rayleigh has his hype. Now, Conqueror's Haki. Conqueror's Haki definitely is one of the more intriguing Haki, because we really don't get that much on it, where Advanced Armor Haki and Advanced Observation Haki has had its spotlight in Hokigal and Wano. Conqueror's Haki is something that a lot of people mention, but honestly, it actually gets downplayed by Don Chinja. It's crazy. Chinja was like, well, if everyone in the New World who's trying to be something as Conqueror's Haki is not really impressive. And Chinja uses that Conqueror's Haki. He said that's something very, very intriguing. We saw him use it in Sabaody once. Pretty cool moment, pretty much knocking out everyone in the auction house, except the people he did not want to be knocked out. So that shows skill in his power to use Conqueror's Haki. He also used it against the huge elephant that was able to take no damage from Monkey D. Luffy pre-time skip, a 300 million berry man. And also, it was stated that if Rayleigh was in the same situation as Luffy and Fishman Island, when Luffy took out 50,000 fishmen, what a great feat, right? Well, pretty much Rayleigh took out everyone, 100k fishmen. So definitely want to say Rayleigh has a lot of hype. Honestly, that just means his Conqueror's Haki is certified, because they pretty much put Rayleigh and Shanks on a different level than Luffy when it comes to Conqueror's Haki at Fishman Island. They would have took out all 100,000. So crazy stuff. And then now Observation Haki, I will say this personally, I do not think that Rayleigh's thing is Observation Haki. I think he's very, very powerful in Observation Haki. I feel like all three types of Haki he mastered, but I feel like if you're going to point out the one that's the weaker one amongst the three he mastered, I think Conqueror's Haki and Armor Haki he mastered to the fullest, and I feel like Observation Haki is his third one. Even though he mastered it, it's his third one. He literally pretty much was preaching to Luffy that a lot of people like just specialize in one Haki, but I feel like you should do all three. It's pretty much him preaching that to Luffy says a lot. So definitely want to say I feel like he's in the same path where he mastered all three, but in my opinion, I feel like Observation Haki probably is a lesser one. The reason why I say this, yes, his Observation Haki is very, very powerful. He's able to tell every single animal that is stronger than Luffy, and this is something that he teaches to Luffy, because Luffy goes up to characters like Fujitora and Inarashi and says, wow, you're very, very powerful. He knows which characters are powerful. It says a lot about Luffy learning that from Rayleigh when it comes to Observation Haki. And of course, Blackbeard uses the same technique in Impel Down when he's like, whoa, Luffy, your Haki got stronger. So that's something very, very intriguing. But he does, how to say this, also go toe-to-toe with Kizaru, who's a speedster. And you know you need a crazy Observation Haki to go against a speedster like Kizaru. Man literally is light speed. But I do want to say this, he mentions Future Sight, and a lot of people are questioning, does he have it? Because he's like to Luffy, there are even characters who are Observation Haki so well in verse, pretty much, they're able to see into the future. He's pretty much referencing Katakuri and others. But in the auction house, he says, don't tell me what happened, and he literally just looks at the scenery, and then he understands what happens. Did he look into the future where they're explaining what happens to him, and then he pretty much comes back? That would be crazy. A lot of people say maybe his Observation Haki is so great that he's not able to look into the future only, maybe in the past too. So regardless, I feel like his Observation Haki is very, very masterful skill, but I do think that it's a lesser one of the three. So if I'm going to mention the lesser one of the three, what do I think is the strongest one of the three? I think it's Armor Haki, honestly. When you have the name Dark King Rayleigh, and we know that Armor Haki has a dark color to it, everyone's going to say, whoa, wait a minute. Doesn't Rayleigh have the hype moment of using Advanced Armor Haki where it's clear? Yes, that's a hype moment, but I feel like there's going to be a third level to Armor Haki. And you're probably thinking, whoa, I'm going crazy. But honestly, we saw him take out that huge elephant that was able to pretty much easily take on pretty much a Luffy using Gear Second. That was a pretty crazy moment with his Armor Haki. And that says all about the level he is when it comes to Armor Haki. But I honestly think Rayleigh's true powers, Rayleigh Rayleigh's true abilities as the Dark King is pretty much sending these dark armor haki blasts. We've seen dark armor haki on people's body. We've seen full body armor haki. What if he's able to combine the second stage armor haki, advanced armor haki, and the first stage when it comes to armor and hardening armor haki, and pretty much do these, instead of a clear blast, a dark blast, and that's why they call him Dark King Rayleigh. That would be crazy, because Sentai Maru is also a powerful character who has a second stage armor haki, and I definitely think that if he does have this third stage of armor haki, I personally feel like he will be one of the few characters, if not the only character to have the third stage armor haki, and it would be very, very impressive. Now, I do think that he's not the only one, but I think that Shanks is also in the same category as Rayleigh, where Shanks and Rayleigh both use swords, but I also think they use different means of fighting. They're not just solely sword users. Shanks has a hype of going up against Mihawk. I definitely feel like they have other means of fighting. One is definitely a extreme haki level user. I think Shanks has a similar thing with Rayleigh, where he's expert in observation haki. I think Shanks' observation haki is the third stage, Rayleigh's armor haki is the third stage, and Roger's Conqueror's haki is the third stage. That would be pretty impressive. The Roger Pirates pretty much flexing their haki muscles, and I definitely feel like this is going to really be pretty much highlighted. When can you highlight Rayleigh's true powers? I think the best time to highlight it is if Shanks and Luffy have an interaction, a clash, and they talk about how they're both maybe students of Rayleigh, and they talk about Rayleigh's teaching and how hype Rayleigh was back in the day. Maybe Shanks talks about that because Shanks was part of the crew. Definitely want to say Rayleigh's students clashing to see who's more powerful. It was pretty interesting because Shanks is a role model to Luffy, and who does Shanks run to when he heard Luffy's words as a kid? He ran to Rayleigh, pretty much his vice captain. So definitely want to say hype, and more hype. Like and share if you enjoyed. Like and share only if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more One Piece content. I'm the Legend Mac, and I'm gone.